three. Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no! Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we have another one of our Learning from Our Mistakes episodes, yes. So you can see that I am in my rune, and I'm grouped up today with Beerman and Linwolf. Now, it has been quite some time since I divisioned up with Beerman and Linwolf, so we played a few battles together, and we did have some good ones, which we'll take a look at later this week, most likely. But for now, I just wanted to share this battle itself, because this... This is an excellent example of what not to do in the late game. So you can see that we start off over here near the A cap zone. So immediately we all decide, yeah, we're going to head towards A. I mean, if you notice as well on the starboard side of the ship, we do have a number of battleships as well. So it's most likely that those battleships are going to go to A. So that's basically where we want to get ourselves going at this point in time. Take the A cap zone. Hopefully the rest of our team will focus B, and we can take both of these caps. That's the plan anyway. So pushing forward here, you can see, yeah, Linwolf is up to his old tricks. Actually does hit me. There he goes. And does a little bit of damage there, so damn it. But anyway, I thought about returning fire, but yeah, I figured not. Wasn't going to do it. You can see as well that, even though at this early stage I did kind of think that maybe we were going to B, but then, quickly realized here as well, right, the battleships on the starboard side, no, they're definitely going to A, so yeah, we want to go to A, especially myself and Beerman as being, cruisers. We want to be able to support these battleships considering there are aircraft carriers in this game, or at least there's one aircraft carrier in the game. Granted, the Mogami and Rune, well, the Rune has some pretty decent AA, to be totally honest, but, the Mogami has adequate AA as well, I suppose. So we should be able to do something. And then obviously as well, with Linwolf being in a destroyer, he's just charging forward and getting into the A cap zone as quick as he possibly can to start the cap as quick as he can, because most likely as well there are going to be some enemy ships coming down here to A as well. On this map, A always seems to be the hot point at the beginning of the battle, and then it does seem to move into B. Though usually what happens, I mean, you definitely do see battles where C is the hot zone, and then it moves into B later in the game, or the battle is just fought over B. But typically, most common, we're going to see A being a hotly contested zone, and then later in the game we're going to actually get into B. Is usually how it flows. Now we can see some of the enemy ships in the background. They're all out of my range at this point in time, and I was just sort of eyeing them down, taking a look at where they were going, and it does sort of look like they are coming here to C, but to A, but it does also look like enemy ships aren't going to just leave BB, and yeah, leave it alone, and they're actually going to make some sort of push on that B point as well, but not necessarily my concern at this point in time. I'm just really trying to get into this A zone, meet up here with Linwolf was already in there, and then as well, keep up with my battleships, trying to make sure that these battleships are protected, somewhat from the air anyway. And it's always good to have some fire support here, right? I mean, the Rune is a fantastic ship, and the Mogami is a decent ship as well at tier 8. I don't have too many complaints about the Mogami. Still enjoy playing her. So I'm just turning here to give Beerman a little more room so that I don't cut him off on the island, because he definitely wants to come around this island. We do have a Zhao over there, so I immediately start firing at the Zhao, taking some shots off while I can. You can see the Zhao is in an unfortunate position in that he is giving a nice broadside, doesn't seem to notice that I fired at him, and there we go. I managed a nice little hit on the Zhao. Take another shot off, but yeah, mountains, didn't see the little range thing, and yeah, or the little mountain thing, so yeah, mountains. But the Zhao did take another huge hit from another from another one of my allies, so that's fantastic. Zhao is almost gone. Putting a few quick shots off at an enemy battleship here as well should be able to do a bit of damage as long as I'm able to range in on the battleship, which is typically once you do get that nice range or that nice lead on the battleship, especially these American battleships, you can rack up a lot of damage here on the Rune. Unfortunately for myself, I have some islands coming in the way, and I wasn't quick enough on figuring out the lead on the ship. I'm pretty sure that battleship is altering speed and whatnot, considering the amount of fire that's coming in on them or in on the player. So here we are, we're finally made it into A. Now we did manage to cap the A zone as well, but you can see we have more enemy battleships off in the distance, right? There's the Izumo, we saw an Iowa, there's still some cruiser support there. I saw an Admiral Hipper that they had, so we want to keep these guys in mind while we're sort of in this A zone, and I'm not going to be pushing beyond this island. That's not something that I am going to be doing, because it's just going to open myself up for, instant broadsides against those enemy battleships, and they would be fools not to take advantage of it. So I'm not going to open myself up to that. Instead, I'm just going to shoot over the mountain and continue to use it as cover. Unfortunately, I'm a little too close to the mountain for some of the shots that I want to take off at those enemy battleships. So you can see that at times the terrain is becoming an issue here. Now I put off some last few shots there at the Izumo, that I noticed again the Iowa over here took a bit of damage, able to get one turret off at that Iowa, so take the shot off, why not. We did hit the Izumo with a few shots, but more importantly I hit the Iowa and managed to reset the cap on or at least the cap points the Iowa had for this B zone. Now we have a New Orleans, so I'm going to take some shots off the New Orleans. It looks like the New Orleans is coming to a stop, potentially going into a reverse as well, so I didn't have to give the target too much lead. But you can see I only actually realized this in the retrospect. So the original shots I fire off do end up missing, but we get another quick salvo off, and hopefully we do a bit more damage. So at least we hit the New Orleans in that one, about 1700 damage. Not so great, especially considering I did hit with 4 shells. So obviously those are over penetrations and whatnot. So we do see just sizing up the enemy battleships once again over here on the west side, and then taking a look again at the New Orleans. You can see the New Orleans is still in a reverse, so okay, we'll fire more shots off the New Orleans. I'm circling back around now because it does look like some of my teammates did manage to push beyond the island at A and has pushed some of the enemies back, so okay, I'm going to move myself up now and start supporting these guys a little more. In the meantime, obviously I'm going to continue to take shots off in the New Orleans. I did a bit of damage there to the New Orleans, which wasn't too bad at all, but now you can see the New Orleans is kind of turning out of it, putting his bow towards me. It does open up the New Orleans for some broadsides against some of my allies, but my allies do have some bigger fish to fry in terms of the enemy Iowa, who's just sort of pushing forward on through B there. So you can see we do have more enemy ships coming up as well. I'm trying to get myself into position as quick as I can here to start putting fire into some of these enemy ships that are right ahead of us. You can see that my team are engaging here. So I'm attempting to do that as well. The enemies in the meantime, I mean, they have capped B, but it doesn't look like anyone is up there at C. So this is a bit of a concern, especially considering my entire team is down here at A, right? So this is kind of the first thing we should have noticed, or hopefully the team should have noticed here and maybe taken action against, was getting someone up to C as quick as we possibly could just to cap C, because obviously B is hotly contested right now. It's going to take a lot to push the enemies out of B, so the best chance is, especially if we had a destroyer, to go up there and take C. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, you can see our destroyer right now is, in the division anyway, is Linwolf now. Well, Linwolf is engaging the enemy battleships that are to his north, right, and trying to do a push into B. So, he doesn't have the ideal opportunity to get over into A. And then our other destroyer is actually duking it out at B as well. So, we'd be hard pressed to actually get a destroyer off the line here, I guess, to go up to C, but it would have been nice to have anyway at this point in time of the battle. So we're finally coming around the island. We can see some enemy ships that are in B, and I'm going to start firing into these enemy ships. We see the Tirpitz over there. I wasn't going to start wasting shots on that guy because obviously those torpedoes are on the way for the Tirpitz, and they're going to do a bunch of damage to the Tirpitz. So I do have the New Orleans that most of my allies are firing at, so I'm going to be focused on this player here for now. Try and get myself closer into B while getting into some cover as well, because I do have another island in between myself and B. So if I can get in and behind that island and kind of use this island as cover while getting some quick shots in at closer ranges, this could be pretty effective. So that's what I'm attempting to do. So the New Orleans is gone. That's excellent. Now we do have an Otago off in the distance, so I quickly put some shots out on the Otago. Now because I'm trying to close the distance and I'm basically sailing in a straight line towards the B cap zone, I'm not able to swing around and get my stern guns off. I didn't want to do it just yet, and you can see now I'm finally doing it because I am getting closer to this island here that I want to start utilizing as cover. So more shots go into the Otago. The Otago's on about half health. Once I get my guns or my turret swinged around here for the rear, from the rear, I should be able to get some pretty effective shots in. You can see the Thotgor is finally taking maneuvers against my shots that are coming in, so those rear turrets all missed. But I do get, one hit anyway on the Thotgor from the front turret. More shots go in, and I'm finally compensating, for the fact that the Thotgor is going away. So I get a few shots there, do a bit more damage, but now you can see that I am coming closer to some of the enemy ships here that are at B, and I'm going to be able to start putting up pretty effective defense at B. Now in the meantime, offense at B rather, in the meantime the enemies have managed to take C. They do have C, so this sucks. We only have 1 point, so we really need to focus on the points. You can see that we are in the lead in terms of points, but this will quickly change. Now I'm coming around this landmass here, and I know that there's enemy ships, so right away I see this enemy, I think it was a Fubuki, so I put some quick shots into the Fubuki. I've got the turrets here. I was trying to target the turrets with torpedoes, but it wasn't working, so whatever. I launched the torpedoes and just immediately fire my guns off at that player. So there we go, the turrets is gone, fantastic. I do take a bit of damage, but I wasn't too concerned about it. We do still have the Iowa, so we can see the Iowa there. I'm not sure where the enemy destroyer is at this time, and I ground myself. Fantastic. So a bit of an oversight on my behalf, wasn't really paying attention. Now torpedoes are coming in from the enemy destroyer as well, but I'm getting really lucky here. You can see shots are coming in as well from the enemy Iowa, but again, really lucky, right? I am taking some damage, but it's not as bad as it could be. I do see the enemy destroyer. You can see the enemy destroyer is getting attacked here from some of my aircraft carrier dive bombers, which is fantastic. This enemy destroyer though, I don't know why the player was just sitting here doing nothing. Now I do have the option of switching over to high explosive, but I didn't do it. You can see, my armor piercing is doing really good damage to the destroyer with that 3900 salvo, and then allowed one of my allies to finish the player off. So I'm finally away from the island, turned away as well. I'm continuing to put shots into this Iowa here. So this Iowa is actually going to become the bane of my existence for a little while. His shots come in, do some more damage to me. Again, it could have been a lot worse. He could have got, more citadels if he got any at all in that salvo. But I'm just going to start, putting her in full speed, sailing away from this Iowa. My main concern at this point in time was B, but I am aware of the Iowa and the fact that the Iowa is probably going to start heading over to A shortly. We do see the Zhao off in the distance, so I managed to get a quick shot off at the Zhao before the islands would have become an issue here. And I'm turning myself, trying to get around the island and get myself into B to start helping out with the cap there. In the meantime, still putting shots into the enemy Iowa. Ooh, that was a big hit there. So yeah, at this point in time, I'm still in the yellow range for health, so that's better than being in red. But I really do need to start being a little more cautious, especially against this Iowa. Now I'm focused really hard on the Iowa, not so much on the actual B cap zone. We do have B at this time, so that's great. We managed to take B, but we do have some concern over A, right? We know that there is that enemy Iowa who's probably going to start, cruising over to A and doing something about that. We do have an allied ship down there at A, so hopefully that allied ship will be able to put up an effective resistance against the enemy Iowa. In the meantime, we do have the Zhao coming up as well. Now, just keeping in mind as well, I don't want to fire into the mountain, so I have to wait a little longer before I can come from around the mountain. We obviously have at least one enemy destroyer left, right? We know this from the enemy composition remaining, and we can see torpedoes coming in as well. So we know that the enemy destroyer maybe is over here. Keep in mind though, there are some cruisers over there who have torpedoes as well. No, I think it's the Hipper. Yeah, it's 6 kilometer range torpedo. We don't have to worry about that. These torpedoes are from the enemy destroyer. So we need to keep this guy in mind, and especially considering the player is behind us, really, really effective for a destroyer to get in and behind the enemy and start firing torpedoes at them. Makes it really hard to avoid torpedoes and incoming shots when the torpedoes are coming from one direction and the incoming shots are coming from another. So still putting shots into the Zhao. Things are looking pretty good at this point in time, aren't they? My team is up in points. We have a pretty good lead. It's not a significant lead. It's not going to ensure victory. That is for damn sure. But it's we're doing decently at this point in time. Beerman and Linwolf are all both still alive, so this is great as well. You can see Linwolf is to the north of B, just kind of scouting out C to see what's going on up there. And we have Beerman kind of in the background, in his Mogami there, pushing towards B at this point in time. You can see he's playing it cautiously against some of those enemy ships that are in the north, right? Because he doesn't want to give them too much of a broadside before he gets into B. So now I'm going to start heading down towards A, because A is going to quickly become a contested point here, considering the Iowa that is moving into A, and as well the Zhao that is still alive and making some moves towards A as well. So I'm going to try and get myself into position to start defending A and helping my teammate out at A. So I do still have the terrain indicator there, so I know that those shots are not going to go over. While I was sort of behind this island here, I saw this little town coming up, so I decided, maybe we'll take a little closer look at the town, just taking a look around, making sure that if I decide to do this, I'm not going to, give up any potential shots or anything. Now this looks pretty cool as well. I do really enjoy the detail here that's going on with the towns and that sort of stuff. The sizes are a little disproportionate, but whatever, it's still cool to look at. So finally we're out from behind the cover here, so I can start putting more shots into the Iowa. Now the Iowa has taken some significant hits here, so we do need to keep this in mind as well. You can see terrain coming up, right? And it's important for me to decide where am I going to go, how am I going to get around this island, right? So I do decide to take sort of the logical course. We're going to come out, make this turn to starboard, I suppose, and use the island on the port side as cover, while still trying to put some shots into the Iowa. Now the Iowa is almost gone. You can see my enemies are engaging the Iowa as well, which is fantastic. The Zhao is still way back there in the distance. I don't have the range to fire at the Zhao, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But keeping, or sort of, just sort of looking around while I'm getting a position at A, I suddenly realized that most of my team is now dead. There's only 3 of us remaining. There's myself, the friendly aircraft carrier, and the friendly cruiser remaining. So this is suddenly turning out to be a bit of a situation. So over the time that I'm getting over here to A, my repair party did cool down, and I was able to repair some of the damage. So I am kind of back to half health at this point in time, slowly working my way up as well in repairing. I mean, once it's complete, I will be at half health, so that's decent. That's not too bad. It gives me a decent amount of HP to work with here. So making the turn into A, we know that the enemy Iowa is still going. The Zhao is almost gone now at this point in time. If we can just get a few more shots into that Zhao, hopefully my team is going to be able to do it and we can take out the Zhao entirely, and then we won't have to worry about that Zhao at all. And there we go, Zhao is gone. Fantastic. So now it's just the enemy Iowa that I think is still over here, but no, there's the enemy Iowa sinking away. This was a huge mistake for me because I should have been paying attention, because I knew that there were 2 enemy ships. I knew there was an Iowa and I knew that there was a Zhao headed over here to A. I really should have paid attention to the fact that I knew that the Zhao died, but the fact that the Iowa had died, because once the Iowa died, there really was no more point in continuing over here at A. And now I'm here and I have to go all the way around this damn island. While I'm doing it, yeah, I'll take a look at another town, but I have to go all the way down around this damn island once again to get myself into position to get back over to B to start putting up a resistance at B. So you can see the remaining enemy battleship and the Hipper are now putting pressure on B, and this is a really bad situation. You can see my friendly cruiser here off in the distance barely has any hit points remaining, and shots are in fact coming in for this enemy, or for the Allied cruiser as well. So that, we're not in a good situation here. Now my aircraft carrier is still going, but we do also need to keep in mind that the enemy still does have a destroyer about. And I have no idea where this destroyer is. Last time I knew he was behind, or the player was behind us at B. That's the last thing I knew. So for all I know, the player is actually coming in behind me to grab A. Now, in the position that I'm in right now, I really wanted to provide an effective defense for B. Look at the points. We're over 900 points to the enemy 736. If we can kill 1 enemy ship, we will win. The enemies just took out my Allied cruiser, so this suddenly makes me think, no, I have to be really aggressive here to take out 1 enemy ship before I die. That way we should be able to have victory. No. There's only 2 minutes left on the clock. Our points continue to rise. I start getting warnings in chat as well from some of the teammates telling me not to screw this up. And well, this wouldn't be an episode of learning from our mistakes if I didn't make a few mistakes. So what I'm trying to do, my plan here, was to close the distance on these enemies and get myself ready for a hard turn to port, right? I wanted to turn to port to use the landmass as cover and then launch torpedoes at the enemies. Suddenly, though, I have a change of mind. I'm thinking, nope, the enemy battleship just popped up. I'm thinking, this is fine. I'm going to be good. I'll take out this battleship and we will win. Again, look at the points. If I would have just kept the turn, we might have won this. The enemy destroyer pops up, and obviously this enemy destroyer is launching a number of torpedoes at me. I have to turn to avoid the aircraft carrier torpedoes, but there is nothing that I can do against these against these destroyer torpedoes. It's all over. All over. If I would have just turned, continued, or went with my original plan of a port turn, I would have avoided these torpedoes, maybe stayed alive long enough to get victory and take out one of those enemy ships to really ensure that victory, but instead, no. You can see, in fact, now I've decided I'm just going back to port. Beerman and Linwolf are dead, so yeah, we're just going back to port to jump into another battle. So I don't have the final results to show you, but I can tell you that it does come back as a defeat. I was really, really discouraged after this battle. Was not too happy with myself, but hopefully by seeing it, we can take a little bit from it, and recognize those critical situations at the end game where one mistake that we make will lead to the ultimate failure of our team. Anyway, that is today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video, and hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber. As always, folks, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.